And we're live.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. I'm Dr. Alan Weinstein with my co-host, Dr. Randi Ross. Today's episode is brought to you by the William David Company, Rethinking Small Business Marketing. You can visit the William David Company at www.williamdavidcompany.com. And Community Wellness Day. Every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day. The system, the official marketing program for healthcare practitioners everywhere, and of course the VIP app, the only application that allows you to bring your live events just like this one to the iPhone, iPad, and Samsung devices. Our apps look so good, people are going to want to lick them. And Google in 10 minutes, a step-by-step guide to all things Google for your business. Visit tinyurl.com/Google in 10. This week's episode, Building a Foundation for Success, how I did it with Dr. Stu Hoffman. Dr. Stu Hoffman is a successful 33-year practitioner, a chiropractor who owned and operated 14 chiropractic offices and employed many associate doctors throughout the years he spent in practice. He was awarded the Chiropractor of the Year from the Michigan Council. He also was awarded this year the ICA Chiropractor of the Year for 2015. So that's really very exciting. For the past 23 years, he has served as founder as well as owner and operator of Chiro Secure, a malpractice insurance company that he has spearheaded to become the second largest program in that market. His expertise and love for chiropractic allow him to be on the cutting edge in protecting chiropractors as well as supporting the chiropractic profession through sponsoring chiropractic research. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to our host. Here's Dr. Randi.
Well, thank you, Dr. Allen. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. Make sure if you're watching this anywhere other than the app that you let us know where you're hanging out from in the comments box. As always, if you have any questions, you can put them in there, and if we don't get to them, we'll make sure to get back to you. Well, today is exciting for me, even though you can't be in the chiropractic profession for as many years as myself and not know about Dr. Stu. I've not actually ever had the pleasure to meet him. So this is exciting for me to have him on our hangout with us today and to hear all the words of wisdom that I know he's going to instill in all of us. So I don't want to waste any more time. We're going to go ahead and introduce you to Dr. Stu Hoffman. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Good, good. That was very nice, Randy. And all these years, we have never met, but I've certainly heard so many good things about you throughout my travels, and I'm glad to be here with you today.
Well, thank you. Right back at you. Well, Dr. Stu, I want to start with something. When you and I spoke earlier this week, you said something that just burned in my brain. And every now and then, you know, when someone says something and it's in there for your life. We were talking about building relationships as a way to grow your business. And one of the things that I always say, actually, a Zig Ziglar quote when he says, if people like you, they listen to you. But if they trust you, they do business with you. And you kind of took it one step further that I thought we could start with, because you said if people trust you, they don't sue you. And I thought that just really stuck with me, and I really thought about it, and I kept thinking, you know what? That's an important thing to realize in business, because we live in such a litigious society that if people trust you, the likelihood of them bringing you into a legal situation is a lot less likely. Talk to us about that for a second.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What my experience is years ago, before we actually created Chiro Secure, I started investigating insurance companies because I was asked to create this program. And one of the people that I met with was a woman named Laura Dressler, who was terrific and became an inspiration for me. She was the vice president of a competing malpractice company at the time. And we were talking about my background in the chiropractic world, coming from a more conservative side of it, more subluxation based for those out there. And we were more of a service-oriented office, or offices. And when I talked to her about that, she totally got it. And she said to me that they have another professional group that they insure up in Canada. And what they do for risk management is they teach the doctors to communicate better with patients so that they actually like you and therefore create a greater trust and therefore less lawsuits. And that was their actuarial experience, and I've always innately taken that and dealt with that across all of my businesses. And even through ChiroSecure, we treat it as if I were still in practice as a chiropractor. Because when a doctor calls up and I speak to them, to me, they're my patient, and I'm coaching them through some sort of wellness, even if it's a claim issue or an incident that I have to coach them through. So what? We get them through their issue at the time and then keep them protected going forward with lessons learned. And that's something that she taught me, or at least made me more receptive and aware of at the time.
Yeah, I think that's so important to understand, and so many of us often think that the time spent in building relationships, whether it's with local business owners, as I teach, or with their patients, as you would share with them, they think that that's, you know, not the best and highest use of their time, when it actually might be the best and highest use of some of their time.
Yeah, let me add to that, if it's okay.
Sure.
Two things. Number one, when we have doctors that have issues, because I take all of those calls, I find that, I don't know what percentage, it would be 70–80% of the time at least, it's a communication issue, not an injury issue. And so if we can address that based on the doctor's communication skills, or anybody else in business, as well as how to actually handle upsets. And I always go back to when I was 18 years old and I had moved to Atlanta. My girlfriend at the time got me into her dentist. I had a hell of a time with a tooth. I had gone to another dentist who was more interested in me than he was in my teeth. And what happened was I decided to go and take the referral because I was in massive pain. So I went to Dr. Friedman in Atlanta, and his first question to me was, how long do you have? And I always say in group talks, well, I wasn't sure if that was a good sign or a bad sign, him asking me that question. But what he really was asking me was, can I spend the day in his office if need be? And I said, yes, absolutely. He said, good. Then by the time I'm done, I will be out of pain, and I'll be home and on my way. And that was true. And ever since then, I went to see Dr. Friedman for 20 years after I moved out of, sorry about that. That was my mistake. For 20 years after I moved out of Atlanta. And when I left his office as a brand new student in chiropractic college, I owed him money from that visit. It took me probably 2 years after I graduated and got into practice to finish paying him off. Yes, he sent me bills. They never ever hounded me. They got their money and probably 100 referrals or more in the 20 years after. And I still go around the country talking about that experience, and it was more than that, because when you walk into his office, you know, you go into a dentist's office, they have piped-in music everywhere that's soothing and non-offensive to patients. But then when you go back and you go into his room, he has rock and roll going on. He has his hands in your mouth, and all of a sudden he takes his hands out, stops what he's doing, because he's up dancing to the music that he liked. I love that. And so when I got into practice, I never played music for the patients. I played it for me, because I realized I'm the one there all day long. If I'm happy and my staff is happy, we're all good. In fact, even in our office here, to this day, our staff, I go around the office all day long because we listen to stations I like, and I always test them. Who can tell me what song this is? $20 for the first person that can tell me. Once in a while I get dinged, but it builds up morale. It keeps communication going. When we're talking about how to build businesses, it's also based on what you do internally as well as your outflow on top of that. So I thought that the story about Dr. Friedman was an appropriate one for a conversation like this today, because it's really all about how you take care of other people that really matter and what comes back to you. In fact, one of the consultants in the chiropractic world that I've been friends with for over 30 years, David Singer, he taught me one phrase that I use to this day, and everybody that knows me understands this, and that is outflow creates inflow. When you're putting out with good intention what you do, you're always going to get back. It doesn't always come back from where you expect it to, but if you have people that are inactive in your business and you start calling them, all of a sudden, just from looking up the names, people start showing up in your practice that you haven't seen in years. It's just putting out that positive energy, the action that backs up that energy, and good things always come from it. So I wanted to, just share that with you as part of where we started today.
Well, Dr. Stu, I got to tell you something funny in relation to what you're saying about music. When I was in my office, I did the same thing. I didn't play music for the patients or the staff. I played the music for me. And I had my office manager, she had a little bit of a European accent, and she used to go, "Oh no, Dr. Randi, no more Led Zeppelin, no more Led Zeppelin." I used to drive her crazy and put like 5 CDs. That's when we actually had CDs playing in a loop, in the stereo. And we'd have like a Zeppelin day, and it used to make her like want to like run out of the office screaming. But I said it's for me. But we all know you how successful you've been, and what do you think are, if you had to kind of come up with 3, I'll call them roadblocks, that you find in all the business owners and practitioners you've dealt with over the years, that you think are the things that keep them from really getting to that level of success that they look for? What do you think 3 are the main things, or 3 of the kind of common things that you hear over and over again, when you're dealing with people?
Well, that's great. What I can say is you have to have passion about whatever you do in life. And one of my mentors that works with me for the last 15 years, Sharon, she's the one that when I took over the day-to-day operations of ChiroSecure, she's the one that reminded me that this is your practice. And I live chiropractic. And therefore, once I understood in my own mind that I'm really dealing the same way I always dealt with patients, I'm just now dealing with the doctors, I can be more passionate about it, because who can really be passionate about malpractice or malpractice insurance? It's boring, it's scary, but when you take it and you own it in your heart, you will explode, because people just you become a magnet to people, because people want to be around successful people. They want to be around people that are passionate about what they do, and they want to be around people that are loving, serving, and giving to others, because people can sense that. So office is when you answer the telephones, you have to have a smile on your face. Why? Because people, even if they can't see you, can tell, because physiologically, when you have that smile on your face, you cannot have a negative thought in your mind. And that is true in everything that you do. So when you're focused on that person you're dealing with, you need to also be in the moment. One of the things that Sharon and I mentioned her being a mentor of mine, and she is, she has helped me in so many ways. We have a company called 2 Imagine, the number 2 Imagine, that started out simply because I had a lot of chiropractors at the time working for me. And some of the chiropractors would do a terrific job, and some of them not so much. So what we talked about was me realizing that some of these doctors just don't own the why we do what we do as a chiropractor in their heart. And if I can get them to own that and be more in a healing mode, then they would do much better. And so the first thing that we did with our company was we created audio products for the chiropractors. One was an audio product to get a doctor into a healing state, and another was to create affirmations that would be embedded into the doctor from repetition. And we've had so many great responses to that over the years that we've done it for the public. We, with relaxation, weight loss, smoking, and then we decided to go into children because that's where the greatest impact is. The point of it being that when you get your mind centered and focused at the beginning of a day, you're going to be on fire. So what I do here, even though we have tons of people that work for us, I'm always the first one in the office. Not because I have to be, but because I want to be. And when I come in, I go through my email like everybody else, and I get all of my stuff done while it's still quiet and I'm not getting 10,000 phone calls during the day and interruptions and helping with this, helping with that. But I also need to get myself right before everyone else gets here, because most mornings we spend 10 minutes just doing a group meeting so that I can get everyone else on the same page as me. Because as the leader of this group, it's very important that everyone supports my mission, and I need to set the stage for that. So some people in business, whether it be as a chiropractor or not, are in that business by themselves. Well, it doesn't matter. You still need to get yourself right. You need to get yourself centered, however you do it, with breathing exercises, just some quiet, some meditation, or with help like we offer through our company. But you need to get yourself right. If you have people working with and for you, it's important to have them along the same path as you, because what good is it that you get there and you're on fire and someone goes out to your front desk and they're a zero in comparison? So it's important from my perspective that everybody be on the same page, and you still need to own what you do with passion and have that as a mission. So I know that's only one of the answers, but it really has a number of spokes to it, and I think that that's what's very important for people to get out of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Everything is, from the top down when we talk about, running our business, whether you have one employee or 100, you have to set that example and even just have the right energy because you're setting that tone.
And let's just go back for 1 second
Sure.
to that energy, because you, as the business owner, are the one that sets that energy. And you and I were, conversing about something as simple as music. But guess what? It's more than music, but it includes music. Last week, I had someone out who usually sets up the radio, station when we come in the morning, and they were out, and I said, okay, let's change this up. Let's put on some country music. I never listen to country music. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't do it. So we put it on. 3 people in here were jumping up and down. They were so happy. Others said, oh my God, do I have to hear that? Hell yeah. And we're going to now, as a result of that, start mixing it up so that everyone gets involved. And that's part of the game, too.
So you're going to officiate Country Music Day in the Chiro Secure offices?
I did not say that. But
not
we are going to have a big band going, like the 40s coming up tomorrow. And today we're still in my world. So, but we will mix it up more. And because ultimately, everyone that you work with has to also be happy. It doesn't happen every day in every office. But people have to be, not just be appreciated, but they also have to know that you care and it be sincere and that you take notice. So this is a little off topic, but it still relates from my perspective. I walk around our office all day long, and part of my purpose is to find out what each person is doing at that point in time so that I can micromanage and see who can help and what needs to be modified, what needs to be changed, that type of thing. But we had somebody that I didn't think was doing a very good job, talked to her about it. Holy crap, they're doing an unbelievable job at something that no one else has taken responsibility for in the past. I needed her to know, but not just her. During our morning meeting, everybody else had to know that too. She was up in the air over that, and that's important. Above and beyond that, it's important for people to know that you actually take a personal interest in them. I have everybody's birthday in my calendar, so I'm the first one to wish them a happy birthday, and we do something in the office for them. But when there's an issue, I know what's going on with each person in our office on a personal level, not to get too deep into their personal lives, but I know when things are going okay or not okay, and I'm always here for them. They also know that, and that's what matters. So when you're in business, people will follow you, people will stay with you, people will go the extra mile, because when I hire somebody, I tell them loyalty is big for me, but it works two ways. And the job you're going to be given, you're going to either be able to do it or not. But above and beyond that, I'm expecting that to be taken care of through training, but there's nothing to replace loyalty. And you have to be loyal to the people that you're working with and expect a lot out of. And I do expect a lot out of people, but you can't expect it unless you're going to be there, show them you'll do whatever it takes alongside them and be that resource for other people as well. And that way you have a team working with and for you to get your goals accomplished.
Yeah, and it's so much less stressful to have a good team, cultivate it, and keep it. And, you know, it's going to kind of bring us full circle. And in our remaining minutes here, you know, I happen to know about you that not only, as Dr. Allen stated in introducing you, that you had many, many successful chiropractic offices, but you're a very successful businessman. And one of the things that I know in talking with you is you understand how important, as a business person, having relationships with people outside of your office, how that has an impact also on what happens in your office. Can you just talk a couple minutes about how important that relationship marketing on the external is for being successful in business, and important to take that time?
Yeah. External marketing, in terms of building relationships, costs very little in comparison to any other marketing. And when we decided that ChiroSecure was its own world and we were going to embrace it and build it, that's when I decided to look around the chiropractic world through all the relationships that I had based on my history and see what I can cultivate. So as an example, when I practiced in Michigan, I put on all of the conventions and all of the seminars in Michigan. So I knew most of all of the speakers that were on the platform around the country. And I became good friends with some of them. In fact, some of them I even considered brothers, because they are, and they're out there. And I asked these people if I can show up at their events. I asked them, how can we work together? What can I do for them, as well as what would be helpful to me? Because things are not long-lasting when it's a one-way street. You have to be able to offer assistance that's going to build whatever they're doing at the same time as them being very happy and comfortable and have a reason to send people your way. And so one of the things back in 2005, we added this insurance audit defense protection for our doctors, and no one else had it. So it was something that I saw coming as an issue. We added it. We were the only ones. I introduced that to the people that I knew that were out there on the platform, and they went crazy referring people to us because they thought it was imperative that all of the people that they knew had that coverage. And that was terrific. So I looked at all of the people that would be a natural aligning with, from the consultants out in the marketplace to some of the associations that I knew or had affiliation with, and we got into that in terms of our communication with that, with each and every one of them. And we refer to those people because I take calls from the doctors that have issues, and sometimes one consultant will be a better fit, in my opinion, than another, or they need ICD-10 codes, and we now even have that on our own website because we have a relationship with a group that teaches that. We looked at all these different parts that are important to the doctors, and we tried to fill the needs by referring them to the experts that we felt were in their best interest. And at the same time, we had all these experts promoting us based on how they perceived we would fill a void for the doctors they come in contact with. So all in all, I would say in terms of community marketing, it's really about getting off your rear end and getting out there and introducing yourself to the public. One of the things that I did when I first got into practice, and I did not want to do this, is I went around, because I was told to, and introduced myself to every neighbor surrounding my office. It was one of the most horrifying experiences I ever had. But again, outflow absolutely creates inflow. People started showing up and calling, and we built a very, very successful practice. And it took me getting out of my comfort zone to do that. And I'm not recommending that as what people need to go and do, but you do need to go and join a networking group. Go out and introduce yourself to people and be personable and offer them information. Do not go out and just try and suck every person that you meet into your practice. It's important. That was good for the 80s, but we're not living in the 80s anymore, and it's important to be that person that can be a resource for others, whether they see the reason and have the understanding of why they should come into you right now or not, doesn't matter. They're somebody that has influence with other people in the community, and if they like you and they trust you based on your communication with them and your networking with them, they will refer others into you, whether they show up on the front end or not. And when they have that perceived need, they will show up as well. So I just want you to understand that I think it's about all of it, getting out there. And for the doctors in here, for whatever, maybe you can share our website for our affirmation CDs, or them getting into that proper mindset with a healing mode, because they'll attract all of these situations to them. But ultimately, you literally got to get out of your comfort zone, get out there, get into the community, and introduce yourself to people, from the banker to the other business owners around you, and do whatever it takes. But be likable, be personable, be trustworthy, and it will start to build and build and build.
That's so true. Dr. Allen?
Yeah, I gave a little echo for some reason.
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, good deal. Fantastic. Well, I had a couple of questions, but I think Dr. Stu actually answered most of them. But I just wanted to then make a few statements about some of the things he said. He mentioned passion a number of times, and I think it's important for people to understand that you get passion with commitment. And And Dr. Stu has always been committed to the chiropractic profession from the time he was in school, because we were in school somewhat the same time. He was actually ahead of me. So that commitment that he always gave to the profession shows up in the passion that he has for the profession. The second thing is that Dr. Stu and Chiro Secure do a live event the third Tuesday of every month where we have a guest come on the show, and the show is really about risk management. And if you are a chiropractor, we invite you to go to chirosecure.com/live-events, where you could find out about our live events right there. But one of the things I noticed, which he eventually talked about, was that the guests that we have on the show, when Dr. Stu introduces them, he has a relationship with these people for 30 years, and they're all happy to come on the show to literally be part of it because of that relationship. So what Dr. Stu's talking about, he really is, lives that, and he's maintained those relationships. And one of the questions I had, if you want to just take a minute before we end the show, is how do you maintain those relationships for so long? What is it that you do that makes people want to always be around you, come to the live shows that Chiro Secure does?
Why do people come? Is that what you're asking ultimately?
I'm asking why not only do they come, but because of the relationship that you've established with them from 30 years ago, they're excited to be there to be with you.
Yeah, well, it's both the participants and the speakers, really. But the speakers come because they have something to offer that is important to the doctors. And they also, let's face it, we have thousands upon thousands and thousands at this point of chiropractors that we take care of, and they get exposure to those doctors. So again, it fills a void on both ends, and you have to give and take in all relationships. And the doctors that participate are coming because we're offering information that is important for them and their practice, and building their practice and protecting their practice. So it becomes something that everyone can get something out of. But we've invited people onto our shows that I've had relationships with for all of these years, because these are people that have also referred to Chiro Secure, and a lot of them are on the road teaching the doctors already, and we make that available to our own doctors. Is that what you were looking for, Alan?
I was actually looking for a little more about not only what was in it for them coming on the show, but literally the personal relationship it seems like you've developed with these people also, because that seems to come out a lot on the shows also.
Yeah, so let me give you a couple of examples. We have a lot of people scheduled to be coming on. We've had a lot on already. But you take someone like Pat Gentempo, who has a history with a lot of people in the chiropractic world, but I knew him from the time he graduated chiropractic college, and we've run in the same circles all of these years. But then you have someone like Ted Corin, who's a totally different person than Pat, and Ted Corin is very, very passionate about what he does, and he loves the fact that we protect his chiropractors. And he's referred a lot of people to us. Then you go to someone like David Singer, who I consulted with when he first started consulting doctors over 30 years ago. And then I became somebody that was on his platform for a number of years. But we're still very, very good friends. And out of all of the years, David has referred so many people to me because he believes in what we do. And that's what attracts a lot of these people to us. And you take someone like Jerry Klum, who is one of the reasons I became a chiropractor, and one of the smartest people on the planet that I've ever met. But Jerry Klum has also been our #1 expert witness and go-to person over all of the years, and has saved so many of our doctors when they do have a claim. So there's many, many reasons that I have these relationships with these doctors, and some are not even doctors.
Terrific. I just wanted to, you mentioned this, and I just wanted to tell people about this. If you go to kairosecure.com/social media FB, as in Facebook, and you can come there, like our Facebook page, and be able to download the affirmations CD that Dr. Stu mentioned. So go to kairosecure.com/social media FB. Dr. Randi?
Got to unmute myself. I'm not used to being muted. That threw me for a second. Well, I want to really thank Dr. Stu for being here, and it was really an honor for me to have an opportunity to finally meet with you and hear some of your words of wisdom, and we're definitely on the same page with so many things. So I encourage everyone to join their live events. I have a feeling that our esteemed Dr. Allen is the producer of that show. Am I correct about that?
You are correct. I don't do really much. I really just turn it over to Dr. Stu, and he really runs it and does a great job.
Oh, you're a little modest. There's a little more involved in it than that. But anyway, yeah, please join those events. Always really important to get the information and always to be current with information. You know, so many of us get involved in our day-to-day that we're not always on top of changes that have taken place. So great resource. Get there. Amazing company. I think you could see that for those of you that maybe didn't know Dr. Stu or aren't familiar with ChiroSecure that are watching us, you know, the health providers, this is someone that you can trust. This is someone you can talk to. Obviously someone that when you have an issue you can feel comfortable that they're going to embrace you and take care of you. So I encourage everyone to, if you're already a follower, watch their live events, and if not, definitely someone you want to get some information about. Well, I want to thank Dr. Stu for taking time to be here with us out of his busy day. I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Allen to close us out.
Okay, well, you've been listening to Building Your Wellness Brand Within Your Community. Today's episode was brought to you by the William David Company, Rethinking Small Business Marketing. Community Wellness Day, every great opportunity begins with the first step. Take that step with Community Wellness Day. And of course, the system, the official marketing program for healthcare professionals everywhere, the VIP app, the only application that allows you to bring your live events just like this one to the smartphones, tablets, and desktop of all those people following you. Of course, Google in 10 minutes, a step-by-step guide to everything Google for your business. On behalf of myself, Dr. Alan Weinstein, my co-host, Dr. Randi Ross, and a great guest, Dr. Stu Hoffman, and ChiroSecure, we look forward to seeing you again next week.